Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
Well, some very, very sad news today as it's been reported that James Earl Jones, the legendary voice behind arguably the greatest movie villain of all time, Darth Vader, has passed away at the age of 93. Of course, James Earl Jones is far more than Darth Vader, and there's not a whole lot that I can say about the man, which won't be said in other places by people more familiar with his entire work and even with him as a person. What I can talk about is what James Earl Jones made me feel. You know, growing up, part of the magic of Star Wars, I think the reason why we're all here is that sense of epic adventure, the feeling of fantasy, and James Earl Jones was the perfect voice for Darth Vader, alongside, of course, David Prowse, the man inside the suit who we also lost a few years ago. You know, it's kind of funny, he wasn't even credited in the original movie, but James Earl Jones and his voice are some of the most iconic sounds in a franchise filled with unforgettable sounds. He was like the perfect encapsulation of an authority figure. To me, and I know this sounds weird, he almost reminded me of like my dad. And that's part of the reason why, although Darth Vader did evil things, his voice was never one like Palpatine's, like a being of pure just evil. There was still something human in there, which I think was interesting given, you know, after the first movie, people didn't even know whether Darth Vader was a man or a machine. Anyway, I was born in the early 90s, and things were a lot different back then. It wasn't like today where you could turn on Disney Plus or go on YouTube and watch whatever you wanted from Star Wars. You need to sit down and watch the entire VHS if you had them, which growing up, I actually didn't for the first few years of watching the movies. My dad borrowed them from his boss. So when you saw something Star Wars related outside of the movies, it was very, very exciting. You know, I think of, obviously, Harrison and Indiana Jones, but to me, the coolest thing was seeing, or rather hearing, the man behind Darth Vader in other roles, whether it was the "This is CNN" little soundbite that I less heard and more heard my parents talk about, or more directly for me, two main movies. Obviously, The Lion King, where he played Mufasa, sort of like a light reflection of Darth Vader. And of course, another one of my favorite movies of all time, The Sandlot. It's not surprising given his extensive work as an actor and his theatrical career, but James Earl Jones, to me, from his voice to seeing him in interviews, was always the physical embodiment of sophistication and intelligence. And I think that's why characters like Mufasa, like Darth Vader, were so complex in their own way. Reflecting on his recent work with Star Wars, I'm very thankful that we got the version of James Earl Jones we did for Rogue One. Unlike other aspects of the movie, James Earl Jones's voice was presented as is. He sounded older, but there was sort of a genuine quality to that. Like, it truly felt like we were getting another appearance from the Darth Vader, something I think is lost when Disney uses the re-speech software. It's just kind of a sad day. I mean, he was 93. He had a very long life, probably a very good life as well. But every time we lose one of these legendary actors, whether James Earl Jones, Carrie Fisher, Peter Mayhew, Kenny Baker, whoever, it just feels like we're losing a bit of what made that original film especially so special. But very happy to have the opportunity to give my thoughts on James Earl Jones. I hope you will do so down below. Of course, this video is not monetized. Definitely a man who brought a lot to a lot of people. But that's all I've got. Until next time, be safe, have a good one, and may the Force be with you.